All right, first off, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with the Hype Magazine tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Super honored, man. And to get started, can you tell the fans and listeners who you are and where you're from?
I am DJ Five Venoms. I live in Miami, Florida right now.
Okay. Now, with you being in Miami, do you think it made it harder for you or easier for you to get into the music industry?
Well, I didn't start my career in Miami. Originally grew up in South Jersey, and I started
Okay.
DJing out there, and DJed in Philadelphia and Atlantic City, and then I ended up going to school and moving to Orlando. Uh, Went to school there and kind of built my career there, and then moved to Miami.
Yeah.
But Miami's definitely not an easy city for sure.
Now, when you were in Jersey, what made you want to become a DJ in the first place, and who were some of the DJs you looked up to at that time?
So growing up, I used to spend my summers in Virginia, and my older cousin is a DJ. So while he'd be
Okay.
off at work, I'd be in his room going through all his records, messing up his
Yeah.
needles, scratching the records. But I got an education on hip hop music going through these records and learning, you know, everybody. This is like early late '90s, early 2000s. So it's really good hip hop and that's where I kind of got my grounding for it. A lot of the DJs I looked up, the Kid Capri's, the DJ Clues, the Phone Master Flexes, and then as time went on, I learned about guys like DJ AM, um, Vice, and Scene, and a bunch of the other guys
Yeah.
that were doing the nightclub stuff heavier. So yeah, and then got into mixtapes after that. So now you're getting the drama and Scream and Small DJ Smalls and so on.
Salute
So
Smalls. Yeah.
different DJs for different parts of it for sure.
Now, what was the first equipment you used when you got started as a DJ? You remember what you were using at that time, and
Yeah,
what was some of
definitely.
the people like you said you?
Equipment wise, I had two techniques, and I
Okay.
think my first set of turntables were techniques. And I found them on like
Okay.
Craigslist, I think, and got a really good deal on them. And the mixer, I think I spent most of my money on the techniques, and I got like a $50 mixer. I think it was like a Newmark mixer just to get me started. And
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of the guys that influenced me when I was coming up in South Jersey were a lot of guys in the market too. Philly has a super dope DJ culture. A
Yeah.
lot of it, if you're looking at like Jazzy Jeff, for example, like, and it's like everyone's kind of like his kids because he's, in my opinion, one of the greatest DJs ever in the world. So like
Yeah.
that man is amazing. And then everyone kind of looks up to him, and you got DJ XL, DJ J Ski, uh active, even like my big homie Soho, DJ Soho. Who else was I working with back then? Man, but I don't know. There's a lot of
Yeah.
Cosmic Kev on the radio, Diamond Cuts. Oh man, there's
Amazing.
a lot of names. It can go on all day, but there's a lot of people that came out of that market that are just monster DJs, and so having them as influences scoped my skills and what I wanted to be like as a DJ. Building my skills and practicing me like that's the goal. Or I got a lot of
Yeah.
work to do.
Now, you said you went to school in Orlando. Did you go to school for music, and were you DJing there, or what was it like being in
Yes.
college at that time?
So I went to school at Full Sail University, which is it's pretty
Dope.
much when I went, it was like a year. So the school runs a year round. So there's no like spring break, or well, there's spring break, but there's no like summer break like regular traditional colleges. So like you start a new class every month, and you're taking like two classes a month, but you go 5 days a week. Sometimes it'll be like 16-hour days at school, and then the way they call it a real world education. So you can have a class that starts at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then you can have a class that starts at 2 a.m. in the morning and finishes at 6 a.m. So it's
Wow, like
kind
a
of like,
studio
oh, all right.
session.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going for recording arts, which is like studio, working in studios. And then that was my first year of it. Then my second year, I went for music business. And then, but I was, it makes it, that school goes so much, and every month the schedule changes. It makes it really hard to work there.
Yeah,
So imagine, yeah, if I'm DJing a club and I got class at 2 a.m., it makes it
yeah.
kind of hard to get back. So I was DJing, I was doing a lot of bedroom DJing, building my skills, networking. I was doing a lot of networking. So I was going out and meeting people in the market, meeting other DJs, watching other DJs, and learning the market. So when I finished school, I kind of already had like I guess like a business plan already set.
Oh, that's
One
dope.
of the things I work one of the people I worked with primarily was DJ Q45, who
Dope.
was the host. He was, I believe, yeah, he was the last host of Rap City.
Yeah.
So and that was right around that era, that time when he was just finishing Rap City. So I became like his assistant, and is like and then he became like, he's like my mentor. So I was traveling with
Dope.
him. I was setting him up. I was opening for him, that type of thing. And I learned a lot being around him, and professionalism, networking. And I met a lot of people that I work with to this day from those experiences with him, which
Yeah.
is really
You
dope.
mentioned Full Sail. I want to highlight that because I know a lot of
Mhm.
artists, they're trying to figure out what they want to do. They know they want to be in the industry. And I have a lot of friends that went to Full Sail, and it's those relationships that you build. Can you speak to any relationships
Yes.
that because you went to Full Sail, it kind of helped when you got into your career, or a door it may open
Yeah.
for you?
I mean, shoot, the first day I walked into the school, the first thing the teacher said was like, network. Like that's gonna be like, this is what it is. Network, network, network. Meet these people, because these are the people that, are gonna be working at the labels, working with different artists, working with so and so. These are the people, you keep these relationships because this person might be
Yeah.
working at a studio and you're looking for a job, and they might know, hey, yo, come over here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me think. I got a few relationships from that school. Shoot, I met my wife at that school. So number one relationship,
Like I
right?
said, that's the most important one.
I met my wife at that school. A lot of friends. I know my homie DJ Goonie from out in LA. We went to school
Yeah.
together.
Goonies fam. Yeah.
Yeah, so like me and him went to school. I met him at Full Sail, but we've been friends since then. So,
Okay.
um, man, who else? I got a few homies that are like not in hip hop. Like I got a homie that he's a road manager slash engineer, sound guy, and he's super
Yeah.
but like it's dope. Like I'll go like to South by, he might be there with an artist, so I'll like go pull up on him or something like that. Um and I got friends that are agents. I got friends that are at labels. Then there's a lot of people that go to Full Sail that don't do anything in the industry based on their
Yeah.
degree, which is a good
Yep.
amount, because one thing I learned from being at that school was the networking part, and I took that to heart. So when a lot of people were just at that school and that's all they did. They were at that school, they did their work, but they
Yeah.
didn't really do the research of like what the real world's going to look like when you leave that school, or
Yeah.
have any contacts or know what direction they're going to go in. That's kind of when you fall into those kind of traps of like, oh, where do I go? Which way?
Yeah.
Who do I talk to? How do I apply for this job? And a lot of things in entertainment aren't necessarily like a resume base. It's kind of like who you
Yep.
know, and your
Yep. Who you
resume
know
is
and
kind
where
of
to submit
like
your.
word of
Yep.
mouth and so on. So I met Q45 while I was at school. I met
Okay.
a lot of the people that I work with while I was in the school. I actually have a picture because Q and my other homie, DJ Hugh, who's friends with Q, came to my graduation.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
was like, so it was like that type of relationships where I was building them while I was in school. So when I got
Yeah.
out of school, I knew who I could call. Hey,
Yeah.
what's up with the booking out here? What's this? What's that? I'm already got work lined up. So when school was done, I kind of had a plan already from being in school. And
Wow.
the cool part was the things I was learning in school, I was using in real time. I was like, oh, dope. I'm
Yep.
using that tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
those type of situations. So Definitely recommend for anybody that's going to school in general. Like, start using the stuff you're learning while you're there. Start building
Yeah,
your
put it into
resume.
action.
Start getting your stuff in line. So when school's done, it's really easy transition into the real world, into the work network. Reach out to people now, because like also I feel like school is the time to make all the mistakes. Also,
Yep.
like
Facts.
you kind of have like a pillow to like, hey, try different things while you're there, because you have that, you're in there, that's what you're there to make, the mistakes and learn and figure things out, so when you get to the real world you kind of got everything
Yep.
kind of lined out at least a little bit, because it don't get any
Yeah, it
easier
doesn't get any easier.
at all.
So with DJ Q45, like you said, you get that relationship with him as he's leaving, Rap City,
Mhm.
moving on to the next stage, and he comes to you and says, "Hey, I want you to be my assistant or a part of the team." What was that conversation like for you, and what was it about what he was doing that made you say, "Yeah, I want to, join or rock with you that way"?
Okay. Let me take it back before I was even like friends with Q. So a lot of it was funny because when I lived in Orlando, there's a club called JJ Whisper. So a friend of mine's city was like an MC for a lot of the clubs out there. So I would just go with him. So that was part of like the network. I was going out like every night with him. Pretty much I was like his chauffeur. Like I was pick him up, drive, go. He'll introduce me to everybody. We're hanging out. And that's how a lot of my relationships started, by just like being out, being around people and learning, and just being a service too. So how I met Q was I met him through City. He's DJing, and he's one of those DJs that I looked up to. Also, like when I say the man is a monster as of a DJ,
Yeah,
he's a monster on the mic, on the cutting,
yeah,
the records, all the different things about. He got it. He can. He's a monster of a DJ. So watching that is like the first thing. Like,
yeah,
oh, he's dope. He's nice. So when I meet him, I just tell him a DJ, going to school, cool, awesome. So like that, like me being, so now you have the DJ talk, right? But then, one of the things I learned with the whole networking thing, it isn't necessarily what people can do for you; it's what you can do
what
for
you
them, especially if people
facts.
of like bigger status, right? It's like you gotta show that you have worth in a relationship with
Yep, facts.
anything. So it's like, hey, how can I help you? He was having an issue with his laptop. I went to school and there's a crash course on computers and building them out and all this stuff. So I was like, all right,
Yep,
yo, pull up to the crib, came to the crib, tried my best to get it working for him. I think it was just something wrong with his CD drive at the time and it wasn't working. I couldn't fix it.
right.
But he appreciated my attempt at helping him and was seen
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, you're a DJ. Da, da, da. All right, maybe we can work together. So every time he come into town, we kick it, DJ together and all that type of stuff, and vice versa. He was living in Jacksonville, so I would go up to Jacksonville, stay at his crib, and so on. So it was like we were working together, then start going to the gigs with him, helping him out at the gigs. And we just built this relationship where we were working on different music together, we were working on DJ routines, obviously the gigs and moving around the cities and everything. It'd be like
yeah,
we go up to FAMU for graduation, homecoming, everything, do those
yeah,
big gigs. We're in Orlando, we're in Tampa, going down to Miami during I remember it was Super Bowl weekend. So it was just like a bunch of I got exposed to a lot really
yeah,
quick working with him. So now I could see, okay, this is where I want to be at. This is what I want to
yeah,
do. This is how these systems work. This is so and so. This is the owner of the club. This is the promoter. This is the booker. So I got to see how the real systems work when it comes to like large scale events and DJs.
yeah. You got a crash course behind the scenes of how a star moves. You know what I mean? A lot of
Yes.
DJs who are coming out of school, they got to cut their way through the clubs and work their way up through the different situations. But God blessed you to have that relationship with him. And I'm sure you got to see some things that you never anticipated. What was something about touring or going on the road as a DJ you may never have thought would have been a part of the experience, but you learned along the way?
Ah, man. That's a really good question. Man, I don't know. Like I so back up all the way back when I was really young. I used to play in a band. I used to play a drummer in a band. So a lot of my
Okay.
touring and traveling experience came from that. So it's kind of like what I'm doing now as a DJ, I've done as a drummer. So I've seen that,
Okay.
but it's a whole different environment
Yeah.
of people, different styles. I mean, it was like I want to say just like the competition.
Yep.
Um
Yep.
there's like a unknown competition when it comes to DJ. I think anything in hip hop, we see it with MCs, we see it with DJs, we see it with dancers. It's always like a competition. So with DJs, like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this room, I'm gonna kill that room. So it's like not it's friendly competition though, I think too. But
Yeah.
like with
Yeah. It's
other
not. Yeah.
DJs, especially you being the DJ coming from out of town, and then you have the DJ that's in town
Yeah.
and you're the guest at their place.
Yeah.
And certain things like playing big records, like those type of things, and being able to navigate that as the guest DJ and be like, okay, well,
Yep.
you just played all the hit records before I got on. What do I do? All right, I'm gonna go back
Yeah.
and
So
play
I
all
ain't
these
got nothing left to
classics.
play.
Yeah, but it's like there's always music to play, and I learned a lot of these
Yeah.
lessons working with Q. I learned I learned that part where it's just like, yo, someone burning all someone's playing all the new hit records before you get on, go play all them old school jams they haven't heard in forever, and
Yeah. Yep.
guarantee you're gonna get a better reaction out of them. Cool. I learned it doesn't matter if the equipment's working or not, the crowd does not care. So
They
you
don't.
better be able to perform on no faders, one fader, one broken CDJ, one
Yep.
turntable. So you gotta be prepared for everything too. Um, what else with the touring? I mean, the being on time stuff, the dealing with the groupies and
Yeah.
all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Traveling though too, like just safety. How we're moving, getting in and out of venues, leaving the venue. I mean, shoot, leaving the venue and like not just going straight to your hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah,
Stuff like
people
that.
think that, you have this event, they see from 7 to 10 the concert's going on and they think, "Oh, that's just the time." No, you're probably there at 6 a.m. in the morning. Like what's your typical day look like, the show day, just so people can see all the work and effort that you put into this craft. What's your typical
Yeah.
day look like for a show?
For even like a Rolling Loud festival
Yeah, for
show
one of the
day.
Rolling Loud or
Okay.
something like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, say doors are at 12. I'm there. I'm not there as early as some people are though. Because I'm there as an artist in the main capacity, but I do more than just being the artist.
Yep.
But say it's an 8 o'clock start, I'm probably there 8 9 a.m. Checking in with everybody, making sure everything's covered on that end. One of my responsibilities is I handle like the playlist that's playing on stages in between sets. So I'm making sure
Wow.
that's the right one, making sure they haven't
Yeah.
changed the lineup, so I don't have any artist on there that's not supposed to be on there. Also going in, checking in, like I'll have guest artists, so I'll be checking with our artist relations, making sure they have all the info for my artist arriving and what time, and they're all straight. Going around, I also book DJs for different aspects at the festival. So we
Yeah.
have our Loud Club, which is our VIP area or bottle section area. So we'll have DJ set up over there. So I'll go over there, make sure, do like a quick sound check, make sure that the audio's running, that everything's there that's supposed to be there, or there might be an activation or something on the grounds. Like
Yeah.
I've booked out activations for Toyota and Fashion Nova and 21 Forever. Like we'll have different
Yeah.
activations, so I'll book DJs for that. So I'll just make sure that the sound's there. Um, Everything's set up and ready to go. So when the DJs get there, there's no questions or
Yep.
excuses.
Yep. You gotta have
Nah,
it
no, it
ready
was set
for
up
them
because
and
I
all that.
plugged in and checked it. Yeah, and then just my sets in general. Like I make sure I got my music ready.
Yeah.
Check in with like the stage manager, say hi. Check in with security. A lot of times too, because like what happens is you'll be moving quick,
Yep.
and it moves a lot easier if the security already knows who you are before you get
Yep.
there. Those
Yeah.
type of things.
How
A
did you
lot
how
of
did you link up with Rolling Loud in the first place? Like, how did you guys meet and form this amazing relationship you guys have?
that happened in 2011, 2010, 2011. The Matt and Tark were promoters for hip hop shows. So they started a company called Dopey and T, and they did their first tour with Currency. It was
Yeah.
a show in Orlando, Tampa, and then Miami. And they booked an artist I was DJing for in Orlando named West Fifth.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the idea with that is Wes has a lot of pool, and he was really buzzing at the time in Florida,
Florida. Yeah, he
Orlando
was huge in Florida.
primarily. Yeah, so it was like, okay, let's book an artist that's here to help move
Yeah.
the ticket sales that people are coming to see on top of Currency. So that's how I originally met them, and they were doing these shows, so they were booking Wes quite a bit, which means I was DJing for Wes.
Yeah.
So Wes and Tark built a really good relationship off of doing these shows. And so Tark was around a lot. So when I talked to Tark, I was like, hey, what's up with me, like, DJing for your shows? At the time, they had built a really good relationship with DJ Demp because they were
Yep.
doing a lot of stuff out. They were living in Tallahassee, but they were doing a lot of stuff out of Tallahassee. So Demp was a big supporter of them and a co-sign for them as well, because it was like, okay, you got these two guys that we never heard of. They want to book us and bring us to Florida.
Yep.
We don't
Max.
know what they're on.
Yep.
So it's like, yo, Demp, can you like let them know we good? We cool? All right, cool. So Demp was like a co-sign for them, and then Dent was also DJing, traveling with these shows and DJing and opening the shows. So eventually it was like every other week they were doing shows, and Dent was coming from Tallahassee and doing all
Yep.
that. So I was like, hey, what's up with me, DJing the Orlando show? So they tried me out, I did a good job, so from then on I became their DJ for Orlando. And that
Congrats.
meant I was doing like a set before, getting the crowd hype. We would also have like opening artists. So some of those I would DJ for those opening artists,
Yep.
and then I just built that relationship. So I mean, it got to a point where we were almost doing a show like every week,
Yeah.
and so that's how I built my rapport with them, being professional, showing up, doing the job,
Yeah.
and eventually 2015 they came up with the concept for Rolling Loud. So I wasn't the only DJ. There was a DJ in Tampa and a DJ in Miami. So they bought all of us in. We did the first Rolling Loud in 2015 in Miami. I
Yeah.
handled a stage or two, and the other guys were on other stages, and it went down. The next year, same thing. I
Yeah.
handled stage two primarily, and stage. We had like a third small stage that I handled as well. Which was my first time meeting XXX Tentacion on, and which was a crazy
Yeah.
event. It was
Yeah.
it was a small tent that was supposed to only have like 100 kids at it, or 200 max, and you're
You
talking about
packed it
like
out.
this small tent with 1,000 kids
Yeah. You packed it out.
turning up, and yeah, it was just crazy. So that was like a really successful year because they kind of lucked out because they booked Future as a headliner. It was 2 days. One day was Thug, Young Thug. The next day was Future, and it was right.
Yep.
It was the year that he dropped
Mask off, I think.
30 Sprite 2
Oh, yep.
and What a Time to Be Alive
Yep.
with Drake. So it was like he was the biggest, hottest rapper
Yep.
out right at that time. So
Yep.
it was just like the perfect storm. The year after was like kind of our I like to call it our like trademark year. Like we did three days in Miami, Bayfront, and we had the craziest lineup. If you
Yeah.
look back at that lineup now and look at it, it's still like crazy. You're talking about Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, Future, Lil Wayne, Post Malone, ASAP Rocky, XXX, Lil Pump, Denzel Curry, Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi Vert. Like it's just you name them,
Wow.
they were on that lineup. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that was the show that kind of put like the world onto, oh, this is Rolling Loud.
Yeah.
Um,
And you guys are known for breaking records and breaking artists. I know that's something you've been passionate
yes,
about all your life as a DJ. So how fulfilling is it now to say you started with someone, maybe they were just introduction, like you said at the beginning, they were just getting their foot in the door, but now look at them now and they're the big artists on stage. Like I know you got a
it's
lot of
dope.
those stories.
Yeah, it's dope, man. One of the things I do at the festival is my DJ Five Venoms and Friends
Yeah.
sets.
Yeah.
And with those sets, I get to kind of A&R and see, like, I look at it kind of like, yo, who do we miss on the lineup, or who got hot after the lineup dropped and got booked, or who do we miss?
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes, I nail it right on the head, and then other times, the artist looks at it like, hey, I did Rolling Loud, cool. I'm like, all right, but it's awesome when I see it, and I'm like looking at the lineup. Like, we just dropped our lineup today, and I'm looking at the lineup,
Yeah.
and a few artists on that lineup were from my Five Venoms and friends at some point.
Yeah.
Fabio Foreign, I bought out in
Yep.
New York. I want to say 2019, 2018, 2019. Honcho, I bought out in 2021, I think, in Miami.
Yeah.
um, who else was on there? C Stunner. I bought him out in actually LA last year and Miami last year. He's on the lineup this year. Same thing with Lil Shimmy. I bought him out in LA last year as
Wow.
well.
Yeah.
So it's really dope to see that transition from my Five Venoms and Friends set, and they
Yep.
made such a good impact that the festival scene, like, hey, I mean, obviously Fabio got bigger and a lot of
Yeah.
artists, but it's really, yeah, but it's cool to be part of that story, that their first Rolling Loud performance was through
Yep.
my set. And
You just mentioned that you guys made the major announcement today, the 10-year anniversary,
yes,
Miami. The headlines are, amazing names. What goes into the thought process from your viewpoint of like going into the Miami show? I know you just left Europe, so you just finished one, but now you got
yeah,
to get ready for the 10-year anniversary. What's going
yeah.
into your thought process with that?
I believe. I mean, I'm part of the booking process, but not 100. Like, I'm like a small part of the booking process with, a lot of the guys. But it really goes into like trying to give a product that the fans
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
You can look through the comments and kind of see, hey, I want Playboy Cardi, I want Travis Scott, I want so and so, I want so and so, I want so and so. So it's really giving you that. And then it's also seeing who's been putting in the work as an artist, who's been
Yep.
doing the tours, who's been doing the dropping the music, been doing, building up. It's not always about the numbers that you have now, it's about the trajectory for
Yep.
you getting there. There's a ton of artists that started at the bottom line
Yep.
that are all the way at the top now. So, I mean, not from this lineup, but I know, shoot, even Post Malone. Post Malone was at the first Rolling Loud. He
Yeah.
was
He
not
was.
booked at for it. He was at it. He performed White Iverson,
Yep.
and now years later, he's headlined multiple Rolling Louds.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yep.
that story is really dope. Travis Scott was at the first Rolling Loud as well. Stage, I think he headlined stage two that year, and now he's probably headlined more Rolling Louds, either him or Future. But
Yep. Now,
um,
question: I got a lot of artists who will probably be mad at me if I don't ask this question. What
yes,
can they do to catch Rolling Loud or catch your attention? I mean, I know there's having those consultations with you and stuff like that, but from your viewpoint, what can artists be doing out there to make those moves or follow that process to get
yeah,
known by you
definitely.
guys?
Definitely. It's not a simple answer because
Yeah,
there's multiple angles for artists getting booked.
yeah,
Obviously, like the bigger names, you're drawing tickets, you're moving tickets in the market. That's who we're going. It's a
yeah,
Rolling Loud is a business. So our business is selling tickets to
yep,
to a
yep,
show.
max,
So we need to book artists that sell tickets on a regular basis, that have fans that want to buy tickets and enjoy their concert. So
yep,
that's one aspect of it. That's what we look at. The other aspect is just following. Like when you're social media is a big sign of it. Not so much your followers,
yep,
but like your interactions, like who's liking, where are they commenting,
yep,
how are your show, are people interested in what you're doing? That's another aspect. Then
yep,
there's different angles, there's relationships. Some artists have artists. We deal with agencies a lot too. So like we deal with agencies pitch us, labels are pitching us. As far as like the artist that's independent, that's not necessarily plugged in with the people that know
yeah,
this person and that person, it's really just getting fans. Like,
Yeah.
build fan base. Like, don't worry about you ever heard like the saying of like worry about the art, not the don't chase the money, chase
Yeah.
the it's really that, like, don't chase the festival,
Yeah.
because if you're doing what you're supposed to, the festival's going to come to you. And
Facts.
it's really that, because then it's like another thing I always explain to artists too is like there's such thing as being too early for a festival.
Yep. Facts. And they can hurt you
And
more than anything. You know?
yeah, because it's like say there's 3 stages, right? Say you're opening, and there's an artist that has a following on another stage. People are going to go see the artist that they know something of
Yep.
versus like the person they don't know anything of.
Yep. And then you're just
Yes, there are.
standing there. You know?
Yeah, yep, and yes, there are artists that don't have the biggest followings and everything that perform at Rolling Loud, and they go through that process though too.
Yeah.
And it's building fans. So if you got a good showmanship and you're doing it, and I always say this is like, it doesn't matter if it's 5 people, 500, 5,000, 50,000.
Yeah.
Like, you got to put on the same exact show that you would for the 50,000, that you would for the
Yeah.
five
Yeah.
people that you would for the 50,000. You put that energy, because that 5 people turns into 10 people, turns into 20, turns into 40, turns into 80,
Yep.
and on and on and on till you get to that 50,000. It doesn't happen overnight,
Yep.
and it's about the process. So take every open mic, take every opportunity to perform in front of people, get comfortable, because that's another aspect. A lot of times I'll ask artists, I'll be like, "Yo, where are you performing?"
Yep.
And I'm like, "Yo, I can't put you on a stage with
If you
500
never
people in
performed.
front of it if you've never performed in front
Yeah.
of 10 people." So
Yeah.
it doesn't get easy with more people. So that's another element as well. Doing more
Now I know you're
shows.
doing the Rolling Loud official DJ as we mentioned, but you're also an artist yourself. You got dope
Yes,
music you're dropping and stuff like that. What's it
yes.
like being able to balance the two of those, and what makes you want to continue to be the artist and put out this dope music you're doing?
It crosses over, I think. It me being a DJ, obviously I'm playing music, I'm a selector. Uh, I'm playing, I know what the fans want. And this is like across hip hop, if I'm in the nightclub,
Yep.
everything. So it's just like crossing over. So it's like, dang, I'm playing everyone else's music.
Why not my
I
own?
work with all these artists. Why not me play my own music with
Yeah.
artists that I rock with, that rock with me? And it's also, it's like, yo, if I'm doing all this for the artist, and a lot of times I feel like I've been felt like, all right, I did that, I did this, I did that, and then I don't really have much to show for it. So now it's
Yeah.
like, yo, if you want this from me, let's do something together. Let's do something that's mutual. I don't want money from you directly, but like, let's try and make some money together.
Yep. Facts.
That's my mentality with it. It's like mutual. It's like, yo, it doesn't necessarily help me to put you on a stage,
Yep.
but it does help me if we're dropping music together, and then it really helps me if I'm putting you on the stage and we got records together.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's that mentality with it too. And I just feel like it gives me more of uh a view, like people can see me more through music, because I'm part of the music scene. I'm not just a guy playing the records, I'm
Right.
creating the records also.
Yeah. Yeah, I salute you on that. I work with a lot of DJs, and I always tell them, like, if you're gonna help, if you're gonna get an artist to help, ask you to help them, you need to release content with them, get drops from
Hmm.
them, make songs with them, because it needs to be a real relationship between the two of you. So when they do blow, like you said, unfortunately, we get left out all the time. You can take somebody from, oh, I just wanted an opportunity to perform at Rolling Loud, now they're a star, and you don't even, you don't get that. But I salute you on that, doing that process. You got Beta Weeda. What made
Yes.
you, or how did you guys meet? And out of all the artists you could be working with, why'd you pick him?
Oh, Beta. So actually we met through a mutual homie.
Okay.
Um, dang. So my manager really good friends with Beta. And once I met Beta, we just became really cool. Like, it
No.
was just
Yeah.
easy. Like, it was a solid dude. It was funny because that's a whole long story too. But I used to intern for DJ Smalls also
Oh,
when
okay.
I lived in
Southern Smoke.
Orlando.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah. So I was on his street team. I was outside of his shows holding banners and and everything, flyers and everything. So while I was at Full Sail, I was part of the networking. Like I got
Yeah.
into his street team, and it was a door to meeting people and so on. So that's where me and Goonie met. Actually, was
Yeah.
interning for a small. So like,
Okay.
uh, but we did a performance competition with like and Smalls was like the judge, and there was an artist Big Hud that won that competition, and Hud was homies with Beta, and
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
haven't seen Hud since then. And when I met Beta for the first time was at a festival because I did a mixtape with Beta through my manager, and then I
Yeah.
got to meet Beta, and Hud was with him. So it was like small world type of
Yeah.
thing. And I was telling HUD, I was like, bro, I remember you from years ago in Orlando and you won the competition with Smalls. He was like, wow. But so yeah, when I met Beta, it just we just clicked, man. I've been out to the Bay a few times. I went out to the Bay for an event. He pulled up on me. He was living in LA and drove all the way back to just kick it with me and make sure I
Wow.
was good.
Yeah.
And it was dope. It was dope. Gave me some game. Like and then it's like as a DJ, I'm like, okay, where do I play in the Bay? Because the
Yeah.
Bay's they love the Bay. So I'm asking
Yep.
him records, and he's like, yo, this. So it was like those type of things, and then we started doing some business together. He flew out to Atlanta for a camp. So it's just like we're working
Yeah.
together, putting out music together, dropping mixtapes,
Yeah.
everything. It's just he's a good homie, man, solid brother. So
How long did it take for you guys to create High Rise, and what made you pick D Dat Jones to be on the song with it?
a lot of that is Beta, to tell you
Okay.
the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, like a lot, like Beta putting together some of these records, working on projects. Beta is also like he has like a very good ear for a lot of things like that. So like
Okay.
he'll be sitting in the
So
studio like mixes, like he's sending me multiple different mixes from different engineers. Excuse me, for different records. So it's like a lot of that's like Beta's creativity, and then I'm coming in using like my producer ear, like, nah, change this, change that, do this, and nah, that's perfect. Like
yeah.
that type of time with it. And then we're putting together like the mixtapes, but like with the singles, I'm coming in kind of like more like executive producing it
Okay.
on my end.
Yeah. Now, you were recently on Ray Daniels. Shout out to my family,
Yes.
Jack Dan's, and you were on the artist spotlight. So you weren't on there as an industry insider or a Rolling Loud persona. You're there as an artist. So what did it feel
Yeah.
like to get honored for your artistic abilities through
It
Ray
was
Daniels
it
and
was
the platform?
yeah, it was interesting. It felt more like a shrink visit than it was like it was my first time meeting Ray, so it was
Okay. Yeah.
interesting, but it just shows like how in tune he is with the industry and people in the industry,
Yep.
and and how he works with artists and understand why he's such a great A&R,
Yeah. Yep.
and he's great at what he does. So uh I mean, it was eye opening. A lot of the things that we talked about on that interview are things that I'm actively working on and
Okay.
accomplishing. So
Dope.
it was amazing actually. It was really I was out there for a music camp. I was working on some singles with artists, and we got the opportunity, and it was kind of like a lot, not even, I wouldn't say a last minute thing, but it was just like I wasn't prepared for
Okay.
it.
Yeah. For the
And,
moment.
and but it was great, and I got a lot, I learned a lot from Ray from
Yeah.
that interview and podcast. So it's still learning,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and understanding, like thinking about the different aspects and like going back to those talks, like, okay, what's the move? Is this gonna
Yeah.
move me towards this direction or not?
Yeah.
And learning that has been important.
It's so exciting for me to see this for you because you're coming off of European tour, 20,000
Mhm.
fans. Rolling Loud is everybody's dream. Be a part of Rolling Loud, and you're over here saying, "I want more. I see more." Like you're not satisfied, as we're saying. I can see that's something that's really dope about you, is you do see bigger. Want to keep going. And when other people would
Yeah.
just be like, "I got the dopest thing out here. Let me just enjoy that." You're like, "Let me keep going and you keep building." So I salute you on that.
No, and that has to do with the people around me, because even the guys that Rolling Loud are always trying to figure out how to make Rolling Loud better and
Mm,
bigger.
Yeah.
And so when I see that, I'm like, yo, I can't just be sitting here,
Yeah.
waiting and doing that. Nah, we got to be growing, and so that's the kind of people I'm around. That's the kind
Yeah.
of people I want to be around. They're always trying to do bigger and better things. Even when you think you got the biggest and better thing, you want to stay that way.
Yeah.
So the only way you do that is by evolving and making things better. Because it's like, if that's the case, we could have finished in 2017 and call it a day.
Yeah.
But no, now
Yep.
we gotta take this thing to Portugal on the beach. We taking it to the Netherlands. We're taking it to Germany, to Vienna, to Australia, to Toronto, to where
Amazing.
else are we going?
Well, I
Shoot,
gotta throw my
yeah.
name in the hat for this, man. Like God works in
Yes.
mysterious ways. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm in the Midwest. Like so, if a Rolling
Okay.
Louds ever thought of Midwest, we can definitely help put all that together for you.
No, definitely. I know we get pitched this, and obviously it's not
Yeah.
my choice or not, but I know, like, if you look at how we lay it out, a lot of it's like regional. And then
Yep.
we also don't like to step on uh
Other
other hip
opportunities.
hop
Yep.
festival feet per se. So it's like we weren't going to Texas because we knew Astro at the time, Astroworld
Yeah.
and Posty Fest were going on in Texas. So it's kind of like a Rolling Loud there really makes sense
Yeah.
or not. So it's kind of like you kind of got that feel. So
Yeah.
it we want to dominate and be the best, but we
Yeah.
also know that we got counterparts out there that are doing their thing, and it's like, if they got that market, it kind of doesn't make sense for us to try and go. So I think
Yep.
like the closest to you will probably be like Chicago, and
Yep.
being the, and then not, you got Lyrical Lemonades,
Yep.
what's the name of the festival? Oh, I can't remember the name of the festival. It's blown up. All I see is like Lyrical Lemonade, Speaker
Yeah.
Box,
That's what I'm
and
thinking. Lyrical
yeah,
Lemonade Festival too.
yeah, exactly. But it's like that's like the counterpart out there, and we support those guys the same way they support us.
Nope.
So it's like, it doesn't make sense us going and
Yeah.
trying to do a Rolling Loud in a market close, because like for us, like Miami, for example, right, we're drawing the Southeast
Yeah. You get that
and
whole
Northeast.
southeast with that. Yep.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we're not going to go do a festival in Atlanta if a lot of people from Atlanta are coming to our Miami show.
Yep.
We don't want to
I
water
like
down
that.
the brand.
You're showing. I love how you broke that down because you really just strategize how anybody can take their business, their artistry, whatever it is, and
Hmm.
use that same game plan. Get a regional situation. Don't overlap your markets and all that. That's really dope. I
Yeah.
know you've got a tour coming up and other things like that international. What's it like going overseas for music? Like coming from New
Oh
Jersey
man.
to going overseas and living out that dream. What's that like for you?
It's been amazing. I have met and seen some of the most amazing people and sites that I never, like. I grew up in South Jersey, and if anyone's ever been to South Jersey, it's like weird because it's like the country in the north.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so it's like, and then it's like in between two big cities. So it's like I live closer to Philadelphia. I live like 20 minutes from Philadelphia, but it's
Yep.
like country. It's literally they call New Jersey the Garden State. It's
Yeah.
nothing but like farms and barns and all that
Yeah.
type of stuff. I grew up in like a very, not, I want to say a very small town, but a small town in the big city world.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it's North Jersey into New York. So me growing up there, it's funny. I was telling my mom this the other week. Like, I wish I had traveled more as a kid. Like, I've been to
Yep.
like Virginia. I've been like, I would go back and forth to Virginia. I made the big, my mom took me to Disney World when I was a kid. That was a big deal. But
Yep.
I didn't go out of the country. I'd never been to LA or California until I was in my probably like late 20s, early
Oh
30s.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was like I never really traveled. Like, when I was in the band, I went up and down the East Coast.
Yeah.
Like, that was like a lot of it. So it was like I was going up to Massachusetts, I was driving down to South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, but like we never really went west.
Okay.
So uh being a Rolling Loud, a lot of my firsts were with Rolling Loud. Like, even the first not Miami show was in the Bay Area. So I flew out there. That was my first time going to San Jose, I think it
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
Flew myself out there, and that was part of me becoming the official Rolling Loud DJs. I took the initiative and flew myself to the festival and showed up ready to work.
Yep.
So they're like, "Oh, okay, dope, you're locked in." And
Sometimes you got
then
to do that though. Like you showed a
yes,
lot in this interview, moments where you took the initiative. It wasn't guaranteed that the opportunity was there, but because you showed up or because you offered your expertise without any strings attached, it gave you that opportunity.
yeah. I mean, and I looked at it this way: these are my friends. The worst case, they're like, "Well, you just come hang out." Like, and I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, but yeah, I took a lot of initiatives. I did. I know one thing. One of my things is always just like trying to uh over I was it under promise and over accomplish. Like I always wanted to do more and show more
Yeah.
than what was expected.
Yep.
And
Above and beyond. Yeah.
yeah, go. I want to always go above and beyond what is just expected. What the basic is, what the
Yeah.
base is. So always trying to do my best when I'm DJing or showing up and being professional, being on time. Uh, it goes a lot, and then it also goes a lot with like not just my team at Rolling Loud, but the other
Yeah.
crews and teams that we work with at these festivals, from the
Yeah.
production, from the artist relations, and all these different people. So when they know they can depend on me to be
Yep.
there on time, to show up, do my job, not be a headache to them,
Yep.
it makes
Makes
their
it
job
easier.
easier, and it makes my job way easier if I
Yeah.
actually need something from them. So building those relationships too, because a lot of times every show we're using a lot of the same people. So I know when I'm going to this Miami show and when I go to the Thailand, we got Thailand in November, that I'm going to see a lot of familiar faces. And
Okay.
even if I
Yeah.
see them once a year, they're going to remember me, hopefully, for being the guy that was on point, that
Yeah.
was
The one who did
nice
business right.
and
Yep.
good to
Yep.
work with. um what was the question? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that was gonna I was
Tangent.
gonna ask you the question, any advice you would
Yeah.
give, but I think you just answered it. Be the person that they can depend on. Be the person that does right by the situation. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
people that are looking for not doing the work. So if you just do the work, but no, do you have any other advice you would give someone who's trying to be in the music industry or be a DJ and trying, brand
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
um I mean, for me, it's always been like this kind of killing with kindness
Yeah.
situation for me.
Yeah.
I always want to be pleasant to work with. Um, Easy's probably not the best word, but easy. Like I try not to like ruffle the feathers, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one really likes working with difficult people.
Yep.
That is
Right.
just the simple part of it. And but there's also a fine line of like respect.
Yeah.
And you give respect, and I expect to receive the same type of respect I give people.
Yep.
So when that gets,
Yep.
then it becomes difficult. Like,
Yeah.
but for the most part, most people want the same thing. You show them respect, and they show you the same respect
Yeah.
back. um and then try, like, another thing I'm learning, how to say no to, a big thing.
Yep. It's a hard thing to do.
Knowing how to say no in the right situations to the right people, because people definitely can try to take advantage of your kindness. So yeah,
Yep. Yep.
no. um and then a lot of times it's like learning how to rip the band-aid for people too, because some situations aren't set up for them in the mindset. Like, I'll
Yeah.
get a lot of artists that want to perform at Rolling Loud or want to do something at Rolling Loud, and they seem in their mind like they have this vision of what it is, but they
And they
never
don't even
been or
know.
seen it. So like
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
you can't ask me about something that doesn't actually exist because you never actually been there, and don't, and
Yeah.
if you actually went, would know that doesn't exist.
They're sending you a
And
song that's slowed down, chopped and
yeah.
screwed, and you're like, "Hold on, have you been to the festival? Like,
Yeah,
this
like
is
it's
high
like,
energy."
hey, it's like, yo, can I be an opening DJ? And I'll be like, well, if you went to the festival or you paid attention to the festival, you would realize that there's not like opening sets. It's
Right.
like it's a festival. It starts, the first artist goes on, and so it's not like it's not like a regular concert where it's like
Yep.
on this stage is going to be three artists and you have an opener and then the rest of the show happens. So um and that's the other thing too, people that understand is like there's only so many slots,
Yep.
there's so
Facts.
many stages, there's so
Yep.
much time. Like, we would love to book everybody, but we have to manage that. Like,
Yeah.
it's only so much time, and and historically, Rolling Loud's had a lot of artists compared to most festivals.
Oh
Like,
yeah, facts.
we packed them in. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about festival lineups that have had more than 150 artists on them at times.
Yeah.
So, we try to do our best to get as many artists in as we can on each show. We try to get a representation of the market as well. If we're in Miami, we're trying to get as many Southeast artists as possible. If we're in LA, we're trying to get as many California artists, that being the Bay, LA,
Yeah. Trying to
even
be
San
region
Diego.
specific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
region specific. Obviously, yeah, they want to see the Futures and the Playboy Cardis and the Uzi Verts and so on, but we're also going to have the Lil Vedas, we're going to have the YGs, we're going to have
Yeah.
the Mozzies and so on that represent that region, and same thing in Miami. We're going to have the Rick
Yeah.
Rosses, we're going to have the we've had Trick Daddy Trina. Atlanta, we're gonna have those guys that
Yeah.
represent that region. When we go back to New York, hopefully, like the same thing. We've had Dipset, we've had
Yeah.
the Wu Tang, we had 50 Cent in New York. So we try to make it regional,
Yeah.
to represent that the community that we're throwing these festivals in, for the to make sure those artists and the new artists as well that are coming up.
Yeah. Now it takes a big team to do all the stuff that you're able to do with your by yourself or with the Rolling Loud. Who are some of the team members that you want to shout out that help make everything go smoothly like it does and come to be able to become
Yeah,
to life?
definitely. I mean, shoot, I'll be starting my manager, Troy Gunn, has helped me tremendously. We've been business partners, phew, probably close to 10 years now. So it's like we worked together in Orlando, and then with me moving to Miami, he went back to Atlanta, and but we're still working together. Long distance. He's coming to Miami. I'm going back to Atlanta, so it's cool. Obviously the owners are Rolling Loud, Tarek and Matt. Man, like I told them, like, they changed my life. They put me in a position to
Yeah.
be who I want to be and do what I want to do. So travel the world. Like,
Yeah.
it all started from
Amazing.
a simple conversation of me trying to want to open up for them, and now I'm touring the world playing music as a DJ.
Yep.
So I can't be upset to that. I mean, Kelvin, Leanne, Wilson. I mean, there's a ton. Alex,
Yeah.
Mike, Brian, the whole Rolling Loud team. Mac. The list goes on. There's a good
Yeah.
amount. It's a
So
small team, solid team, but there's a good amount of, and it grew. It really. I mean, shoot.
yeah.
It was. I remember it was like six of us. Sean also, six of us in a conference room for some of these festivals, and just putting it together. I was doing
Yeah.
graphics. I was making graphics and editing videos, and it was kind of like, all, if you got a skill, you're using it, type of thing. I
Yep.
was making set lists, or not set lists, time lists for the screens at the festival, during the festival. So I'll be like, I gotta go DJ on stage, and then as soon as I'm done, grab my laptop, open up Photoshop, and
Yep.
edit something and
It's
send
all
it to
hands
the
on deck in those
videographer.
situations. Like it's all
Yep.
hands on deck. Ain't nobody standing around. If you
No.
can do something, get to it. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Now you
those were the
also mentioned
earlier
that you're
days, bro.
married. So how are you able to balance having a family and being in this entertainment industry and traveling around the world? How are you able to balance those two?
I'm still figuring it out, but course, it's an ongoing figure out. But my
Yeah.
wife is very understanding. I stay very transparent with
Yeah.
her, so I'm letting her know, hey, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm doing this, I got this going on, and but she's very understanding of my career. She's very supportive of it. Shoot, a lot of the people I know from her too. Like,
Yep.
she came up in the nightlife out here in Miami, so she connected me with some of the promoters that worked at her clubs and so on. So
Yeah.
got me gigs, um and built my network out in Miami. So that part has been a tremendous help. And then she's just solid, man. She works some of she comes to the festivals with me, and she hangs out. So it's like she
Yep.
understands what my goals are. I also make sure on my end that I'm spending as much quality time with her that I possibly can,
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
to make sure that, you know, I'm not lacking in that side as well. But it's all balance, you know, work and fun and family. It's just a balancing act. And as long as you can stay honest and you have trust too, trust is a
Yeah.
big part of it.
Facts.
And you everything stays good.
Yeah.
And you know, phone calls, FaceTimes help and everything. Cause this is, I mean, shoot, last year I was going for I've been on tour for 2.5 months at a time,
Yeah.
going to Europe for like 3 weeks at a time, and so on. So it's just like it don't get easier, I can say that, but it, you know, you gotta have your
Yeah.
processes and make sure that you're keeping your word and making sure that you're communicating is probably the number one thing, making sure that's happening.
I agree. Well, I appreciate your time tonight, man. A really honored talking to you. Before we get out of here, any upcoming releases we can announce, or any shows or
Yes,
anything like that we can let your fans know to be on the lookout for?
yes, new single dropping this Friday night, Slow
Okay.
Motion, with two Atlanta artists, Brie Biasi, she's killing it right now, and my boy Peso. Some
Oh yeah,
people
Pesos. Sorry.
Yeah, Peso. He used to go by the name Big Javi. He used to have a song called
Yeah.
Nine Times Out of Ten, or he still has a song called Nine Times Out of Ten, but he changed his name to Peso. So that's dropping this Friday. I'm super excited. I got more, I'd say more songs coming with them as well. So I'm super excited. I've known them for some years. So it's like the first, this is my second single with Peso technically, and then this is my first single with Bree. But I got a bunch of songs with Bree also coming. So we got some music definitely
Dope.
lined up. This year I'm gonna be dropping a lot into next year. We're doing music camps. So yeah, if there's any artist, yeah, my DM's open, my email's open.
Yeah.
Let's tap in. Let's work, man. I'm if you're in Miami or you're wherever, I'm definitely down to work.
Yeah. I'll definitely follow from radio, man. We love breaking records, man. So if you got new records you want to get out to the DJs, and I mean, definitely send it to me, and I'll get it out there for you. But I appreciate your time tonight, and I hope you have a great night, fam.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.